Some mysteries refuse to fade. They haunt investigators, families, and entire communities. Tonight, we're looking at 4 chilling, unsolved disappearances. Cases where people vanished without a trace, leaving behind questions that may never be answered. From strange phone calls, to abandoned cars, to trails that end in the middle of nowhere, these are the disappearances that still keep investigators awake at night. Which one do you think is the most mysterious? Let's start with Case 1. On May 14, 2008, 19-year-old Brandon Swanson vanished into the dark backroads of Minnesota. One moment, he was on the phone with his father, calmly describing his walk toward town. The next, his voice cut off with a startled, "Oh, shit." And just like that, Brandon was gone. That night, Brandon had been celebrating the end of the semester with friends in Canby, Minnesota. After midnight, he began the short drive back to his hometown of Marshall. But somewhere along the way, he took a wrong turn. Instead of heading home, he ended up in the opposite direction, near the tiny town of Taunton. At 1:54 a.m., his car got stuck in a ditch. Brandon called his parents for help. He wasn't panicked, just annoyed, and told them he thought he was near Lind, a town about 10 minutes away. His parents set out to find him, staying on the phone as they drove. But no matter where they looked, nothing matched the landmarks Brandon described. After nearly 45 minutes, Brandon said he could see the lights of Lind. He told his dad he was going to walk toward them and kept talking as he walked. He mentioned gravel roads, fences, even the sound of water nearby. Then, at 2:30 a.m., came his last words. "Oh, shit." The line went dead. When police searched the next day, they found Brandon's car, but it wasn't near Lind at all. It was parked by a field outside Taunton, 25 miles away from where he thought he was. The car showed no damage, no signs of foul play, just stuck in a ditch. Tracking dogs followed Brandon's scent from the car through fields and toward the Yellow Medicine River. Some believe he may have fallen in, but no body has ever been found. Despite helicopters, hundreds of volunteers, and countless searches, the trail went cold. Theories swirl to this day. Did Brandon fall into the river and drown? Did he become disoriented in the dark and succumb to the elements? Or was there something or someone waiting for him in those fields? Brandon's case left more than questions. It led to Brandon's law in Minnesota, requiring police to act immediately in missing adult cases, because time is everything when someone vanishes. But even with all the searches, all the theories, one truth remains. Brandon Swanson has never been found. So I'll ask you, what do you think happened that night? Did Brandon wander into the river? Or is there more to the story? And of all the disappearances we've covered, where does this one rank on your list of most mysterious? Some disappearances defy logic. Brian Shaffer, a 27-year-old medical student at Ohio State University, vanished without a trace on April 1st, 2006. One moment, he was enjoying a night out with friends. The next, he was gone, leaving behind only questions and a haunting mystery. Let's delve into the perplexing case of Brian Shaffer. On the evening of March 31st, 2006, Brian Shaffer went out with friends to celebrate the start of spring break in Columbus, Ohio. They visited several bars along North High Street, eventually arriving at the ugly Tuna Saloona around midnight. Brian was last seen on security footage at 1:55 a.m. on April 1st, talking briefly with 2 women outside the bar before walking off screen. Despite extensive searches and reviews of surveillance footage, there was no evidence of him leaving the bar. Investigators considered various theories, including the possibility that Brian left through a service exit or changed his appearance to avoid detection. However, no concrete evidence has emerged to explain his disappearance. His car remained parked outside his apartment, and his personal belongings were untouched. Over the years, numerous tips and sightings have been reported, but none have led to a breakthrough. In 2019, an image of a man resembling Brian surfaced in Tijuana, Mexico, but facial recognition analysis ruled it out. In 2021, an age-progressed photo was released, showing what Brian might look like today, but it hasn't yielded new information. Some believe he may have taken his own life. Others suggest he started a new life elsewhere, and some even consider the possibility of foul play. Yet, after nearly 2 decades, the question remains, what happened to Brian Shaffer? Do you think Brian Shaffer is still out there? Or is this a case of foul play? Share your thoughts in the comments below. From Ohio to New Mexico, our next disappearance takes us to a story that has baffled investigators for decades, the chilling case of Tara Calico. On the morning of September 20th, 1988, 19-year-old Tara Lee Calico left her home in Belen, New Mexico, for her usual daily bike ride along State Road 47. Tara had been riding this route almost every morning, sometimes with her mother, Patty Dole. But Patty had stopped joining her after noticing a man stalking them and had even advised Tara to carry mace, a suggestion Tara politely declined. That morning, Tara told her mother to come and get her if she wasn't home by noon, as she had tennis plans with her boyfriend. When she didn't return, Patty began searching along her usual route, but found nothing. Later, pieces of Tara's Sony Walkman and a cassette tape were discovered along the road. Some believe she may have dropped them intentionally, possibly to mark a trail. Witnesses reported seeing Tara on her bike, but no one saw her abduction. Several people did, however, notice a light-colored pickup truck, possibly a 1953 Ford with a camper shell, following her closely that morning. Tara and her bicycle were never seen again. Then, nearly 10 months later, a chilling clue surfaced. In June 1989, a Polaroid photograph was found in a convenience store parking lot in Port St. Joe, Florida. The image showed a young woman and a boy, both gagged and seemingly bound. Family friends immediately thought the woman resembled Tara and contacted her mother. Patty examined the photo and, considering growth, lack of makeup, and a scar on the woman's leg matching Tara's, became convinced it was her daughter. Scotland Yard analyzed the photo and concluded the woman was Tara, but a second analysis by Los Alamos National Laboratory disagreed. The FBI's analysis was inconclusive. Over the years, additional Polaroids emerged, including some possibly showing Tara on an Amtrak train or near a construction site, but none were confirmed. Over the decades, Tara's case has received extensive media attention, from Unsolved Mysteries and America's Most Wanted to Oprah and 48 Hours. In 1998, a judge officially declared Tara dead, ruling her death a homicide. New leads continue to emerge. In 2008, Sheriff Renee Rivera suggested that Tara may have been accidentally hit by a truck and killed, though without a body. No charges were ever made. In 2013, a 6-person task force reopened the investigation. In 2019, the FBI offered a $20,000 reward for information leading to her recovery or to the arrest of those responsible. And in June 2023, law enforcement announced a breakthrough in the case, stating there is now sufficient evidence for the investigation to be submitted to the district attorney's office. The identities of the persons of interest remain sealed. Tara Calico's disappearance remains one of the most haunting unsolved cases in U.S. history, with haunting Polaroids and decades of uncertainty leaving more questions than answers. What do you think happened to Tara Calico that morning? Was she kidnapped, the victim of a tragic accident, or is there something even more sinister at play? Share your thoughts in the comments below. From New Mexico, we head to Missouri, where an entire household vanished overnight, leaving behind a mystery that has haunted Springfield for decades, the chilling case of the Springfield Three. On June 7, 1992, 3 women disappeared from a home in Springfield, Missouri. Cheryl Levitt, 47, her daughter, Suzanne Susie Streeter, 19, and Susie's friend, Stacy McCall, 18. That morning, all 3 were simply gone. Every personal belonging, including cars, purses, wallets, and even Cheryl's cash, was left behind. There were no obvious signs of a struggle, aside from a broken porch-like globe. Even a potentially crucial answering machine message was inadvertently erased, possibly destroying a key clue. The timeline leading up to the disappearance shows the women had spent the evening celebrating high school graduations. Streeter and McCall had attended parties and then returned to Levitt's home late that night, planning to sleep there. By around 2 a.m., they arrived home and were never seen again. Friends and family expected them to show up at planned gatherings the next morning, but when they didn't, concern grew, prompting visits to the house. When friends entered the home, they noticed unusual signs. Levitt's dog, Cinnamon, was agitated. Lights were off, the television was left on with static, and personal items like purses, keys, and wallets were untouched. Stacy's clothing and underwear were also missing, yet there were no other signs of forced entry. Police later estimated that dozens of people had inadvertently contaminated the scene, unknowingly destroying possible evidence. Over the years, investigators have considered numerous suspects. Robert Craig Cox, a convicted kidnapper and robber, claimed in 1997 that he knew the women had been murdered and would never be recovered, though authorities doubt his credibility. Larry Dwayne Hall, a suspected serial killer who traveled the Midwest, has also been examined due to his presence at historical reenactments near Springfield around the time of the disappearance. Another person of interest, Gerald Carnahan, was later convicted of a separate violent crime and had connections to criminal circles rumored to be involved. Despite thousands of tips and extensive investigation, the whereabouts of Cheryl Levitt, Susie Streeter, and Stacy McCall remain unknown. All three were declared legally dead in 1997, but officially, the case remains open. Media coverage has been extensive, with episodes featured on 48 Hours, America's Most Wanted, and Investigation Discoveries Disappeared, while podcasts like the Springfield Three, a small-town disappearance, continue to keep the mystery alive. The Springfield Three remains one of the most baffling disappearances in U.S. history, with a normal night out turning into an unsolved nightmare. Do you think this disappearance was a random abduction, a targeted crime, or something even more sinister? Let us know what you believe happened in the comments.